Tornado warning issued for parts of Lawrence and Jackson counties in southern Indiana, and this goes until 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time here. We have a severe thunderstorm near Heltonville, Indiana, that's currently in the process of potentially putting down a tornado. This is going to be only a small part of Jackson County, Indiana, that's going to be involved with this warning. If you're in Seymour, Brownstown, or areas a little closer to maybe Caruthersville, you are not involved in this at this time. This is areas north and west of Freetown right now under this radar indicated tornado warning. We have had zero reports yet that this is a on the ground sort of tornado situation, but you can see the hook right here. This is just south of Yellowstone, Indiana, east of Heltonville, where we have that concern. There has been some very tremendous winds that have been moving through Lawrence County here, and whenever you get a little bit of a hook shape on a storm like this, that gives us pause for concern that we could certainly have the potential for a tornado that may try to touch down here at any point. What I'm going to do right now is put on the radar the velocity scope, velocity meaning wind speed here, so we'll be able to see where this rotation is, and you can see it right there trying to develop near Yellowstone, Indiana. Again, this is not a super strong signature here, but the problem is that this part of the country here, north and west of Freetown, is pretty far from Louisville and still pretty far from Indianapolis as well, and that's where the two radar sites are, so it's difficult to see the lower levels of the thunderstorm when the radar sites are that far apart due to the curvature of the earth here. So we're still watching for the potential for, of course, a tornado to develop in that thunderstorm as we go throughout the next few moments here. Now, you'll see this black outline here near Brownstown, west of Seymour. That is a severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible tag on it. So you folks in Brownstown, not under a tornado warning. However, you do have the potential of seeing a thunderstorm with a tornado on it here in pretty short order. You can see the Jackson County, Indiana tornado warning goes until 8:45. We have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for our counties as well here on the big board. You'll see, of course, one of those has already expired here, but the tornado watch does continue for a lot of our counties here until midnight tonight. Just wanted to step through that with you. If you are under the tornado warning north and west of Freetown, Indiana, basement or storm shelter, that's where you need to be right now. Make sure you got your pets and your kids in there too. It might be a good idea to have a helmet or something to cover your head just in case there's debris. Interior room away from any windows or like a hallway or a bathroom, that's also a good place to be. So those are the places you should go to if you happen to be under this tornado warning right now. Here's the wide view. Louisville, we're fine, but of course we serve 34 counties here in Wave Country. So whenever there is a tornado warning, it is our policy to cut in here on Wave and NBC to let folks know of the danger that they may be facing here. So again, this is a tornado warning that we are seeing northwest of Freetown, Indiana. It is radar indicated. We do not have evidence that this is touched down at this time, but this is an environment that has enough rotating wind in it already, kind of the wind shear, if you will, that it wouldn't take much to put down a brief tornado touchdown within our counties here. You'll see Freetown, of course, right on the edge of that. Brownstown, you guys are in a severe thunderstorm warning, and we're not seeing much potential at this time for an imminent tornado in most of Jackson County, only for the north and west part of Jackson County and areas of north and east Lawrence County. This has already moved through Bedford, so if you're in Bedford and you hear tornado sirens, it's not for you. It's for areas north and east of you. If you're in Heltonville, the danger has already passed as well. And of course, I'm not the only one here this evening. All of our team has been watching this setup all week long, dissecting it, making sure that everybody has the earliest alert as to what may happen here. Brian Good is here with me this evening. And Brian, you've been tracking some of the severe weather reports and kind of dissecting and slicing through the radar and its layers.
Yeah, one thing I've been watching is what we call a shear marker. This is an indicator of what we can indicate for rotation, a good example of wind damage. And in some cases, when you can get a lowering wall cloud, not always a tornado signature, but it can lead to that. You can see as it crossed into Bedford, that's when we had several reports when we were streaming of dime-sized hail right over the Bedford community. Then right after that, that apex really just got its act together as it moved into the northern side here of Jackson County. You can see that shear marker really is lit up as it's tracking. So I'm kind of getting real close to this. This is heading right over Norman. And again, it's a very wooded area. You can see the terrain here. So looks like Kurtz will be one of the communities that will be in the path of it if it can hold together. Otherwise, Bald Knobs area will be watching as well for it to move through. Otherwise, this is you guys are in the valley areas, so there's a lot of high terrain in this spot. So I got a feeling there's going to be new wind damage out of this tornado warning, Ryan. It may be a bit delayed because of where it's moving into, but at the moment, no official damage reports. I'm watching it carefully, though.
Yeah, it's so tough to get reports in such a rural area like this for our friends and neighbors up in parts of Lawrence and Jackson counties. We do have the power to show some of your reports that you can make on the MPing app here, so I'll bring those up right now, and you'll be able to see where we've already at least had one hail report this evening from those users here, and that's going to be in the Bedford area. You can see it popping on right there. It's that dime-size hail report. But notice we've had no other reports of hail from MPing. We've had other reports in Du Bois County, of course, of hail sizes between about, say, nickel, penny. Some folks may call it marble size, though coins are a bit more preferred when you're making those reports since they're a bit more of an absolute size there. But if you'll notice, we've got some wind damage markers that we can also find from MPing there. And so far, there have been none that have been reported by folks. So let's bring you back to the reason why we're on the air right now. I know we're interrupting the Opry special, and that's special for a lot of folks here on NBC. We'll try to return you to that as fast as we humanly can here. But this tornado warning does include some population within the 34 counties that we serve here. In fact, you'll see about 1,300 people under this tornado warning polygon. That does include parts of Brown and Bartholomew counties in southern Indiana as well. This storm has now completely cleared, looks like the Lawrence County area. So if you're in Lawrence County, despite there being a tornado warning, it's pretty much over with for you. So it's now just exclusively northwest parts of Jackson County, Indiana, that are under the gun for this sort of situation here. Let's put on the velocity one more time here, and you'll be able to see exactly what we're talking about. It's this area right here, just north and west of Freetown, making it very apparent that it's, it at least has some broad rotation. This does not look like an imminent sort of tornado situation at this exact juncture, but we get scans in from the radar here every 1 to 5 minutes, depending on the scan mode of the radar. And there we go. They've trimmed back that tornado warning to now exclude Lawrence County. So now this is just Jackson County, Indiana, and only a small part of it. Again, this is north and west of Freetown. If you're just joining us, Brownstown, Seymour, down toward Crothersville, you are not in this warning. This is for a very small chunk of Jackson County, Indiana. But we know that Jackson County has some population. You guys are a part of Wave Country. We want to make sure that we're on the air with the latest coverage for you guys. Brian Goods also tracking other thunderstorms that may pose a threat to our area as we go throughout the next several hours here. What are you seeing down near Owensboro?
Yeah, this is starting to become a little bit more of a line here with some Boeing segments that are showing up. This is going to be a new warning that's going to be out very close, really, to Tell City area, just south of there, not too far away from Hancock County, heading to the south and west. You can see how this is all going to become just a line full of wiggles. Anytime, we always say that on the air, when the line gets wiggles involved, you can get Boeing segments where you get straight line winds, and in some other cases you can get a notch where you can get some brief rotation that can develop. Doesn't always mean a tornado, but at the moment this looks to be the max point now of this line as far as its severe potential. So here's Louisville. Here's really the Ohio River and the rest of Kentucky. At the moment, everything's quiet in Louisville other than the wind. I know the wind's strong out there, but that is a separate issue than what's going on here as we move into Indiana. Also watching a couple cells that are trying to form near Warren County, just south of WKU. They are not severe, but it'd be interesting to see what happens as they move into that environment as that front gets a little bit more. It's not necessarily front either, by the way. It's a very strong push of dry air slamming into western Kentucky right now, and that's what's really feeding these thunderstorms. So this entire area is going to feed all together into a line that may encompass a few more warnings before we get out of this. So in Louisville, if it all holds together, it's 8:23. Ryan, I think about an hour, maybe 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range.
9:30, 10 o'clock. That aligns with our forecast timing today really well. So the timing of this has actually been exceptionally well forecast, which is a good thing here. I do want to break down the thunderstorms going on in Jackson County a little bit more here. We are going to pan the radar down just a bit. I know we've got that tornado warning north and west of Freetown here, but I want to address you folks in Brownstown, Indiana, and areas west of Seymour. This is Medora. This is the US 50 corridor. corridor. This is the heart of Jackson County between Seymour and the western part of Jackson County here. You guys are, of course, underneath a severe thunderstorm warning. It has this tornado possible tag on it, and it's because of this guy right here. And you'll see that's just west of Bono, Indiana there. Let's zoom over to that. In fact, we'll just put the radar here on the screen, get rid of all the clutter here so you can see exactly what's going on here. And as we pan our way.
There too, Ryan, while you're looking at that, the shear markers are going up on that cell just south of Bedford as well. So
okay, so just south of Bedford,
north and
right
south
here.
Both there, yeah.
This guy right here is kind of the one of concern. Despite there not being a tornado warning here, that notch is not a good look right now. In fact, let's go back in. We've got a new severe thunderstorm warning. Let's address that first. Then we'll go back just to make sure that everybody is aware of the new information that's coming in from the National Weather Service here. There we go. And this is going to be for Breckenridge and Perry counties in our counties here of Wave Country. Radar indicated severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-per-hour winds. This is kind of a baseline severe thunderstorm warning, but over 28,000 people in it. So a lot of folks in it. And it's basically from near Tell City down to just west of Hardinsburg there in Kentucky. And it's the very western sliver of Meade County as well, and southern parts of Crawford County, just south of English, also under that warning. All right, back to the storm that we were just tracking a moment ago here, and we'll be able to pop on the velocity scope and show you exactly where the rotating winds are in this storm. This is southeast of Bedford. This is east of Mitchell. If you're in Mitchell, this storm just about finished with you here, but Brian Good was talking about the shear markers on this storm starting to go up a little bit, and you can see why. It's because we do have a little bit of broad rotation here. This is going to be moving toward Weddellville, Indiana. This is going to pass just north of Bono, Indiana, in Lawrence County. Weddellville again. That's going to be in Jackson County. If you're in Brownstown, this storm is going to get awfully close to you with its rotating winds here. So far, no imminent tornado, but they do have a tornado possible tag. Whenever you see this black outline on these yellow severe thunderstorm warnings, that typically means there's something plussed up about the severe thunderstorm warning, and that usually means a tornado possible tag on it. All right, wide view again. You can see the one lone tornado warning that we have to our north. Let's address this one more time here. You'll see that there is a little bit of a notch in there that we're watching at this point. Of course, it's going to be over by about 8:45 this evening. It is moving to the east, north, and east. These storms this evening have been moving like 55, 60 miles per hour. So highway speeds, these guys have been just trucking along. There has not been a whole lot of lightning. In fact, there's this one view right here. You'll notice that, only 29 strikes in the last 10 minutes. That's not a lot at all. You would typically expect a whole lot more lightning out of a setup like this. Let's go down to the big board here, and you'll notice that, of course, we have that one lone tornado warning. The rest of these are severe thunderstorm warnings that we're seeing at this time here. Try to go back to the radar here. And, of course, you'll watch that one lone thunderstorm north and east of Freetown here. Maybe this time we'll be able to get the velocity scope in here on it if it cooperates with me. There we go. And now we'll be able to track what we're looking at just north of Freetown.
Okay,
there.
looks like, that's a shear marker continues to show up there, Ryan. And, in fact, something else I've noticed, too, while you're focused on that cell, that's the one we're watching. I'm looking at other areas where the lightning count continues to be a little bit more elevated up and down the line. That, I think, is not coincidental. I think that has led to all these warnings kind of all connecting. We have a couple other spots we're watching that warning, the shear marker there, and not really a strong signal yet, but this is one we'll be watching that could move into Hancock County, perhaps into portions of Breckenridge County and southern Perry County if that holds together. It's still a while, but they drew that polygon in a very wide fashion for a reason to make sure you guys got a big heads up on that. Otherwise, right now, it's the two cells that are basically sharing the same path almost, moving here out of Lawrence County, moving into Jackson County. It's kind of a 1-2 punch. Only about 10 miles or so separating the two at the moment. But so far, Ryan, I've been checking the reports. Still haven't seen anything yet. But as I mentioned earlier, it's just an area that I got a feeling we're going to get some delayed reports. So at the moment, just make sure you know your safety procedures. As we always say, get the lowest level of your home, get away from windows. This is certainly going to be true for at least the northern side there of Jackson County. But as we're watching that second cell, Ryan, really we need to exercise caution even for the US 50 zone in central Jackson County as well. You got a new warning coming out there.
Yeah, I got a new warning here. This is going to be kind of on the fringes of our counties here, just scraping the very northern part here of Jennings County, Indiana. This does not include North Vernon. It does not include Hayden or Country Squire Lakes or anywhere up there. This is basically for the Columbus, Indiana area here, and it does have that tornado possible tag. So if you live in extreme northern parts here of Jackson County, that's what we're
Washington County now added.
Washington, there we go. So it's the northern parts of Jennings County, I should say there, that are under that new warning. We have another new warning, there we go, that we can query here, and you'll notice that Washington County, Indiana, as Brian just told you about here, now under a severe thunderstorm warning. This looks like more of a classic severe thunderstorm warning situation here. It's not plussed up with any sort of tornado possible tag on it at this point. So these are the storms that are now moving through Paoli that are getting ready to take aim at Salem, Claysville, areas of northwest parts of Washington County, Indiana at this time. So a whole lot of warnings. The one warning that we're on the air for right now is this guy, the tornado warning, of course, that continues to plague parts of northern Jackson County. This is just south of Becks Grove. This is just north of Freetown here. And so far, as Brian was also talking about, we just don't have any reports of damage. We've had some hail in Lawrence County for certain, and Du Bois County, but we have not seen any sort of wind or tornado damage.
And so they turned a warning.
They just terminated it.
Yeah, they just took it off altogether. So I will say too, while we're adding on speeds here, the forward motion is down to about 45, still strong on its forward motion on the line, but that's a good sign that this line itself is kind of getting congealed together into one here. But certain sections are going to move a little faster than others, of course. But as we always see in these cases here, these lines end up a little slanted. So for those of you in Seymour, even into Scottsburg and to Austin, Indiana, you're going to experience these thunderstorms earlier than Louisville will, and certainly a lot earlier than even E-Town will. So you got to keep in mind, our Indiana counties will get perhaps additional warnings for perhaps some straight line winds and hail size that could get up to quarters, but I have yet to see anything any larger than a dime or marble size, Ryan. So I think right now we're talking about just a wind scenario until we get more reports of anything larger on the hail size. I think we're kind of cutting away from that now. Yeah, and that's some good news as these storms congeal together and as we start to lose some of the instability from the heating of the day here. That's why we're starting to see all of this kind of, anchor down a little bit in strength. It's not as bad as it was before here. We're going to give this at least a couple more minutes. Our concern here is that another tornado warning could be short fuse issued before 8:35 this evening. If we get to 8:35 and we are still just dealing with severe thunderstorm warnings, what we will likely do is go back to our streaming platform. So if you know about Wave Weather Now, it's our 24/7 local weather live stream. It's on wave3.com/weather now. And of course, you can tap watch live on the Wave Weather app to see it. We'll continue to broadcast there and usher you through these storms as they move toward the Louisville metro area. But if we get a tornado warning, obviously we would pop back on to coverage here. So we're going to give this a couple more minutes. It's always prudent to let the coverage kind of go for at least a couple more minutes here before jumping off the air, just because we've all kind of been there when these tornado warnings can seemingly come out kind of at any moment here. So we're going to continue to monitor these storms. The storm moving into areas just north of Freetown right now continues to be the main concern that we have. It has the most sort of rotation potential in it right now. As we put the wind velocity on, you can see where the greens are and the reds are. The greens, of course, going toward the Indianapolis radar site, the reds away from. So you can kind of see where, that's where you would have some of that rotation north of Freetown. Again, nothing is imminently on the ground or anything like that. In fact, they did let that tornado warning get canceled early just because the National Weather Service in Indianapolis just is not seeing enough evidence of an imminent tornado to keep a tornado warning going at this time. So this is going to be north of Freetown where the main threat is, Brian. All right, Ryan, before we go, let me show you 4 spots that we're watching right now. All right, one is the one that Ryan's been talking about that's now moving really into the central portions there of Jackson County near US 50. We also have the very northern part of Orange County, a strong push of wind indicated there. One of the stronger signals is actually heading just south of Paoli Peaks we're watching that, and also some strong winds on the western side of Crawford County. As far as Indiana goes, because the one in northern Jackson is just about out of the area, but the 4 right now that could potentially keep the warnings going, those are the 4 spots to watch. So if I listed off any of those areas that's close to you, be aware that you could still get some damaging winds as we'll watch those notches. As far as Louisville goes and into Kentucky, right now there's nothing threatening Louisville. It's just windy outside, but at the moment we don't have any strong storms coming right into the metro immediately. We have to wait and see what happens here into the western side. Let me switch the radar over so you can see. We have to wait and see what happens here into around Owensboro and around, say, portions there of Breckinridge County into Muhlenberg County. We'll have to wait and see what happens in this spot to see whether or not that's a threat to Louisville. That's still a good an hour, maybe 90 minutes away from moving into the metro, but can't let our guard down for sure, Ryan.
Yeah, and we are going to continue our coverage, of course, on Wave Weather Now and Wave Now coming up here in just a moment's time. I do want to address one thing. We've got this tag that has popped up on our radar here, and we do have kind of a little bit of a computer-generated deal here where it can try to show us where it may think debris is, and it's in the wrong spot, thankfully. So if you happen to see that on any of our products here, that is an automatically generated sort of situation there. I don't think we actually have debris on radar at this time. It's very rare that that shows up, though. I've set it so that it would be have to be a kind of an extreme situation for us to see that kind of debris tag pop up there. But I am going to at least investigate that here for just a second before we jump off the air and go strictly to our streaming platforms. We also have a tree blocking the roadway at 620 West at Sheeter Road. That is in Du Bois County. Just got that report in from emergency management there. Thanks to Gary out there in Du Bois County for doing what he does best here. And yeah, we're not actually seeing any rotation that's of concern in western parts here of Jackson County, so that's some good news there. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to jump off the air here. You can still find us on Wave Weather Now and Wave Now. We're going to continue streaming from this very studio on both of those platforms. If another tornado warning is issued, we'll jump back onto Wave, but we want to get you back to that Opry special here on NBC.